In the previous episode of Hermitcraft, we spent a bunch of time destroying things, to be honest with you. This is the area that my chorus farm used to be, and for anyone who's new to the series, you probably haven't seen me use this thing because I built it. It took me ages to build, I used it once, and then basically the Hermitcraft server caught fire. Okay, we got a message from the server company saying that there is a fire in the server room where the Hermitcraft server is located, and whoever caused it should never do what they just did again. It completely slowed the server down to a halt. It's an amazing farm, and I'm sure in single player it is absolutely awesome. But it just does not work for multiplayer servers, so it had to go. Now in its place, we constructed this little thing. Diamonds coming soon. I mean, there's not too much to it, but we did spend a lot of time in the Redstone Testing world doing some serious testing, which I guess is exactly what the Redstone Testing world is for. I don't know why I had to clarify that. Now this little machine may not look like much, but it's actually really interesting because this is an automatic mining machine. So this is a system that allows us to generate a piece of TNT and then launch it forwards into the wall of like a cave, or the cave that this automatic mining machine is making. The TNT will explode just before the wall, and it will destroy the maximum number of blocks, and then it will also shuffle itself forwards. When we activate it again, it will then do the same thing again. So let's see it all working. You can see a TNT gets duplicated, it gets stored there, and then we can shoot it forwards, and it will blow up just like that. I really cut it fine with the timings there, didn't I? That was that was risky. Now we do need to do a little bit more work on this thing. We need to build up the timing circuits. That's arguably the most important thing. So that means I'm not going to be manually pressing the buttons anymore. The TNT will be fired out at the perfect time every single time. That's a big one, but also we need to test it. We actually need to make sure that it works. So that'll be coming later on in the episode. I just realized I didn't pick up all the sticky pistons that are down here in the floor. So there's even more redstone resources here than I thought. What's going on? There is a raid happening here. But there's no village. They've gotten lost? I don't really understand how the raid mechanics work. I haven't actually done a raid. Has someone's raid farm leaked? I don't want to go near them though. Whoa! Oh god, it's all kicking off. This I don't know what to say. They don't seem that interested in shooting me. Something is very wrong here. I don't know what's going on. And we're going to do what all heroes would do and just ignore them and hope that they leave of their own accord, please. So now that I've fully cleaned up that area over there, we need to work out how we're going to do the building that's going to be there, because we want a big, grand building up at the top. There's also going to be housing all the storage systems and things. Then obviously down underneath, that's where our auto miner is going to be going. So I'm trying to think. I mean, I've done some research on Google what mines look like. They look quite boring. We need to think of a cool thing to build. And I think I have something. So I'm going to grab some glass, and we also need a bunch of this smooth stone, which for some reason I seem to have tons of in this super smelter area, which is handy. Now the idea is to make a gigantic drill looking thing going down into the ground, and then I'm actually going to cut out a hole in the ground. That's where the storage system is going to be, and then we're going to build up a structure around the drill that is holding it in place. That's the idea. This is going to be the drill head, and I think we should use iron blocks for this. That makes a lot more sense. Oh, and by the way, it goes without saying, the drill head's going to be a lot bigger than that, okay? In case you were thinking I was done there. I think that actually we need to make this look a little bit sharper, because this does not look like it would drill anything. What about something like this? Something like this looks like it's going to be a tiny bit better. I've also put a rim around the top. Yeah, that does look like a drill. That does. That is starting to look like a drill. This is going to be a ridiculous build. Now, the next thing that I believe is important for this construction is that it says in big, bold letters, mine on it. I don't know why, I just imagine this drill with the words mine on it. I think it could look quite cool. So how tall is this? Is this 5 blocks tall? Because this then needs to come across. And that is going to create our N. And that is going to make its way all the way upwards. This is going to be quite a tall build now that I look at it. That actually looks quite good. It looks better than I expected, I think. I'm actually a fan. I need to remove that dirt block because that is annoying me. But that's okay. So as far as the body for the drill is concerned, I was thinking we would use yellow concrete. So that's going to go up like that. And I'm trying to think in terms of what sort of structure. I mean, what does a drill look like? Does it need to... Oh, okay, I say we almost do something like what Scar's done, in that it's kind of notched. Yeah, and then it's going to have some handles on the side, which are going to be held up by the actual building itself. Yes, 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 yes. This is exactly what I hoped it would be. I had totally forgotten about the fact that this is currently not functional. I will fix that up at some point. I just can't do it right now. Also, this is totally unrelated, but I've lost my redstone shulker box again. I have absolutely no idea where it is. So if any of you Hawkeye viewers would be able to inform me where it was last seen, that would be much appreciated. Now I'm hoping that this many stacks of yellow concrete will be enough. I think that front bit used 5 stacks in total, which is ridiculous because it doesn't look like it should. But then you lose the fact that this is actually a pretty enormous build. Just about, yes. I still need to do the roof, but we have a couple stacks left, which is where I'm going to build the handles on this thing, which I think are going to really, really help out. Because at the minute, it looks a little bit big down at the bottom. It looks a little bit bottom heavy. So we need to add some things to the sides here. And then I really don't know. Originally, I was going to use stone bricks and these smooth stone blocks for the structure around it. But I am liking the style of concrete at the minute. I'm really, really liking the style of concrete. Ever since the start of Hermitcraft Season 6, I've fallen in love with using concrete for everything, and now I want to use it for everything. But, it's difficult. I had forgotten how slow it was to actually gather concrete manually. So I only have like 4 stacks that I need to convert, so I thought I'd just do it quickly in the place that I always used to do it. And it takes forever. I built my entire base using this method. What on earth was I thinking? I suppose there was nothing I could do. It was only recently that TNT got changed, actually. When was that? Is that Minecraft 1.14? Oh, dear. I've made a mistake. I've made a big mistake. Ah. I forgot to light up the inside of this thing. And there is no way... Given the fact that this is as armoured up as I can possibly be, there is no way I'm making my way in there. Absolutely none. That is going to remain a mob bit for the rest of the season, I think. Actually, I have come up with an idea of how I can do it, which it seems like a bit of a life hack to me. So we'll do that in a second, but first, okay, so we have mine on each side of the thing. We've got the handles as well, and Kubo's just come into the room and then... walked out. He's just plodding around. Anyway, the idea is that you get yourself some lava, okay? And it is the only light source that you can actually drop in Minecraft. So I can drop this in, and it will A, kill all of the mobs, but B, it will also just light up the area. Does that make sense? I mean, I feel like this could be smart. So I'm going to put a lava bucket in each one of the corners, which there does actually seem to be quite a few mobs in there. And that should stop anything from spawning in here. Is that smart? I feel like that's smart. I feel like I've been smart there. Yeah, I've definitely been smart there. So now that we have this absolutely enormous thing, let's start work on the structural elements. And I guess these have to be even... they have to be even bigger. So they're going to kind of wrap around these handles. And... I don't know. I don't really know how to make them. I mean, they have to expand out. They definitely have to be... wider than the handles. So how wide is that? That is 5 blocks wide. Maybe if we did something like this, and then had something like this, that would look kind of structurally sound. Because it's all about looking as structurally sound as possible. That's all I'm really going for here. If we did something like that... and that went up and held on to the gigantic drill, how would that look? I think that would look pretty good, actually. Yeah, and then it holds on there. Maybe it latches on. Maybe we have some iron that kind of wraps around the posts. Yeah, I say we build this, we see what happens, and then we work on it. The only slight problem is that these iron bands here, they're not going to go right the way up to the top. But, I mean, I don't know if that's a big deal. If I just fly out quickly and we see... so I've got the post in. I don't have any of the support around the bottom of the post, but I've got the first iron band in. I would say 3 iron bands is probably more than enough. And I think that will end up looking quite cool. That is already looking quite cool. I mean, it's a ridiculous build, don't get me wrong. But it's already cool. And now we have all of them in place, it's going to look even cooler. So let's look at it from the backside as well. Make sure that I'm not missing anything. Nice. This is, as I say, I've said it many times now. It's silly, it's daft, and I'm a huge fan. Let's get the other side. This build is using some serious resources. Thankfully, we have some serious resources for some reason. I seem to have them stacked up, but still. Also, I don't know if you can tell, but I think I might be getting ill. I really don't want to get ill. I have nearly used a full shulker box of iron blocks for this build alone. That is quite impressive. Actually, I feel like that can't be right. There is no way mathematically I have that many iron blocks in that build. Dude, this looks like something out of a comic book, and that is exactly the vibe that I was going for. Look at this. This is the most ridiculous mine building I think I've ever built. It looks so much better now that we have both towers. Oh, that is... Honestly, it's like something out of... For some reason, it reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know if I'm going crazy here, but it feels like something that would be in Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, let's get to work on the bottom area now. So, as I say, this is where all the storage systems and things like that are going to be going. And I'm going to inset it into the floor maybe by like 10 blocks, I would say, because then we can have 8 high chests on each side. We don't really need to sort the items too much, I wouldn't have thought, because I'm just only going to be throwing in the precious stuff. Yeah, okay, so yeah, if we knock this down by about 10 blocks, we make a big square here, and then it's going to be open topped. This is just going to be looking like it's drilling into it. Are there meant to be this many iron golems in Scar's place, or has he accidentally created a really cool iron farm? Because I couldn't help but notice the iron golems that seem to be chilling on the outside of the windows. I feel like he didn't place these. I feel like they could just be spawning. I say it every single time. I forget how slow it is to mine out even not big area. Look at the size of this, right? This is not a massive area. I don't have a beacon because I was too lazy to go and pick up a beacon. And now it feels like it's taking days. This is the space that we've got. I thought I would also add in this little yellow border around the top with the stone as well. Let's see how that looks. Pretty cool. That looks very cool. Okay, I am happy with that. We've run out of yellow concrete, so I'll have to get a little bit more of that. But that's no big deal. I guess... I mean, what do we... It's difficult to build the inside of this without first having all of the mine. I'm thinking what we do is we line all of the walls and everything like that, and we get the kind of rough decoration in place, and then once we build up all the systems and things, that's when we start doing the full construction, if you catch me. You know, one farm that we definitely don't have and definitely should have in the industrial district is like large-scale flower farms and seed farms and things. 100% we need to do something like that. Because there's currently no way for me to get large quantities of dyes. I like this idea for the walls. It looks suitably industrial while also looking suitably fun as well. I think this is perfect for it. So once this is wrapped around, for now, that will be this entire build completed. Yet, more resources required. Oh, have we used up all of the smooth stone? No, thank goodness for that. I still absolutely hate that change, by the way. I really do. I remember the good old days when I didn't have to smelt things to get my beautiful stone slabs into the inventory. Anyway, this thing is now all done for today. Looks absolutely nuts. Honestly, this is about 1,000,000 times better than I expected it to be. Didn't really have the highest hopes for this build. I am so chuffed to bits with it. I think it looks absolutely mega. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pop into the redstone testing world. We're going to do a little bit of work on that redstone design and try our best to actually get it functioning, so that we can actually build this thing. Maybe it might have been smart to actually do the testing and make sure the system works before I build a gigantic building dedicated to it. That might have been smart, now that I think about it. I suppose worst comes to worst, we use the Psycraft design, the one that already exists and works perfectly. Yeah, that will be the move. Right, so here's the situation, okay, with this build. What I need to do is I need to power this one to generate the TNT. I then need to power this one a perfect amount of time later to launch the TNT slightly above the machine, and then we need to move these pistons into the location again so that we can reset it every single time. So all I should have to do is maybe fire up a flint and steel or something like that to activate it. That should be it. Okay, how am I going to build that? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I'm trying to think. My brain is slow today. After eating a little bit of food, it's now powered back on, so hopefully we can actually get this redstone build working. So, the first problem that I have to solve is chaining the modules together, because obviously we can't just have one module. That's a very inefficient way of mining. It would take forever. Instead, we're going to have a bunch of these things next to one another, and that means that I have to have a way to actually connect them up. So, we can't go too big with this thing because obviously lag problem on the Hermitcraft server. I don't want anything lagging and this thing blowing itself up because I will cry. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. If I miss one block in this build, the entire thing explodes. Oh, that is terrifying. And also, if I get kicked from the server or I lose connection, once again, whole thing explodes. I'm just going to choose not to think about that, I think is probably the way to do it. But yeah, as I was saying, I need to try and connect these things up. So I've got one of the lines, we need the second line for the bottom one. And that, I think, is now all done. This is starting to look bigger and more complicated the more that I add to it. But then we also have some of the timing done. I think that this timing is way too quick. But it's good for a trial, so I'm going to make some backups, and then we'll see what happens here. I mean, I really don't know. Put it this way, I don't have the highest of hopes. Okay, I really don't. So, 3, 2, 1... Updating the piston. Wow, I was not expecting it to be that bad. I suppose that is pushing quite a lot of blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, we are quite a lot over. I mean, I was expecting it to break, but I wasn't expecting it to just go nowhere. That's probably the most disappointing of all of the possible outcomes. Okay, after some serious remodeling, let's give this another go. Right. Right. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack there. What happened? So it turns out the piston has to push from the very top block of our TNT duplicator. That is quite frustrating, because it means that I now have to remove everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah, I have to remove everything. Okay, after even more remodeling work and even more backups, I'm now feeling pretty good about this. Okay, I have fairly high hopes that this is actually going to function. I personally can't see any reason why not. So let's go. Okay, TNT duplicated. That works. Let's see if it works again. So it should be like a repeatable thing. This is good. Okay, this is exactly what we need. I would say we just need a few more ticks extra of delay, because this is exploding a little bit late. We need it to explode about there. So yeah, I would say just a tiny extension to the back here, and we are onto a winner. This might just be perfect. This might just be perfect. Cool. Just watching out for any issues where it decides to explode part of the redstone mechanism, but it looks like it's just about far enough out that it's not going to run into any issues. Okay. I think now it might be time to start the next test, which is to actually start placing blocks out in front of this thing. I'm super curious, because this literally is make or break. You know, if this doesn't quite work properly, then we're going to run into some serious issues. So it needs to clear out a big enough space for the machine to actually fit through. Is it doing that successfully? It seems to be. This is super nerve-wracking stuff. But it does seem to be going through, doesn't it? So this is just going to keep on going. We do have a big enough gap. I'm terrified that it's just not going to fit at certain points, but it seems to keep itself fairly in check. Amazingly. Now, I did have to make the slightest modification to the launcher design so that it doesn't scrape across this part of the ceiling, because occasionally we can leave blocks behind here. Essentially, we have like a 3-wide totally clear space on the top level, and there are tiny bits of the machine that kind of interact with parts of that. So I'm going to have to work out ways to kind of relocate stuff. But then you also have to remember that there are going to be modules next to one another. So that means that that shouldn't really be too much of a problem. Either way, it actually works, it functions, it mines things, which is completely bonkers. So that is it from me today. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this episode on the Hermitcraft server. Next episode, I guess we'll do a little bit more testing, try out some multi-modules, and then maybe start building on the Hermitcraft server. I mean, would that be crazy? It could be crazy, but I think I feel confident enough with it to do it. Now, on a total side note, I cannot believe, okay, at the end of the last Hermitcraft episode, I said I wasn't going to forget the link to the merchandise store, and I forgot the link. I forgot it. For the first hour, the video was up. It had no link. I'm so awful at this. Architect.tmill. I've forgotten the link. I've forgotten even what the link is. Maybe it's down in the description, I don't know.